There's been many YouTubers over the years who have been exposed for doing awful things, but not many of them have been able to continue their career without really receiving any punishment after admitting to it. This is the story of Kiwiz, the one who got away. So before we get into this, I need to mention that I will be avoiding certain words because YouTube doesn't like things like that. Also, I do not approve of any harassment or attacking of any creators mentioned in this video. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. So Kiwiz first started his channel over 10 years ago, and like many gaming YouTubers, he was a Call of Duty trick shotter. He went from being on the clan era to joining Sword Gaming just after a year of uploading videos, but he wouldn't see major YouTube success until making one video titled My Opinion on Tensor Getting Kicked from SOAR. In this video, he just gave his opinion on the situation in a more commentary way, and it was one of his first videos to gain over 100,000 views. And later down the road, he would actually go on the Keemstar's channel to have a discussion with Tensor and interview him. I only bring this up because Keemstar is going to play a very big part of this soon. So after being on SOAR for a while and actually becoming an owner of the team for a little bit, Kiwiz would join the Red Reserve, and during this time is when all of the allegations came out. So around a year later, after joining the Red Reserve and having around 150,000 subscribers, Keemstar released a video interviewing the mother and the victim, and would later release another video where they would all hop on a call and talk about the situation. So if you're unfamiliar with what Kiwiz did, I'll go over it briefly. So when Kiwiz was 17, he was talking to a girl who claimed to be 14 at the time, whose name is Jerica. You'll actually hear from her in the Drama Alert video soon. After talking for a while, they both ended up exchanging explicit photos to each other. And it actually turned out that Jerica was 12 at the time and not 14. And if you thought things couldn't get worse from there, well, that would be a very big understatement. Also, I want to mention both of these videos were deleted off of YouTube, so the clips I'm going to be showing is from the Drama Alert documentary video on it, so let's get right into the clips.
We met when I was 17. She claimed she was 14, but I guess she lied, apparently. She must have been 13 at the time. Can you clarify? A year and a half ago, was she 13?
Well, a year and a half ago, she probably would have been 12 and a half.
It's just, I was 17 at the time, and I understand she was 14 or 13, however old she was.
Wait, there's, if you were 17, wouldn't that make her 12?
No. She said she was having personal issues, and we just talked for a while. And you know, one thing led to another. She started complimenting me. I complimented her. You know, it was being a teenager.
And also with the pictures, you had to have known she was younger. I'm sorry. No. I mean, when this started a year and a half ago.
I truly believe she was 15. Like, she looks 15 to me.
But I mean, if she's sending you graphic pictures when she's 12, I mean, you should be able to figure out.
There's no way.
Yeah. That she's not.
She wasn't 12. She was 13.
It was a month ago.
Yeah, and a month ago on Snapchat, yes.
Okay, so a month ago you sent her a picture.
Yes.
But the problem with that is you're 19 and she's 14 at the time.
But the thing, like, I was in a really, like, depressed state. Like, she was talking to me, like, she kept on saying how she was saying how she was so attached to me, and I was saying, and she said how she wanted to meet up, and I said that's really weird.
Oh, you're talking about being depressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so I had something going on in my life around the time that happened.
I did too, and me being upset, and I told you about some things about me being possibly bipolar. You just like gaining that from like something that I said earlier, or are you really depressed?
No, like I'm not depressed now, but I had something going on in my life at the time that was really hard on me, and I just needed to talk to somebody. I don't know. It was just being stupid.
Now, Kiwi, this all sounds like really serious. Like, what are you thinking? Like, I mean, are you sorry? Are you...
No, am I sorry? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, of course I'm sorry. Like, obviously, like this is something. If Jerica would have expressed that she was very uncomfortable,
that's still a problem because you're 18 and I'm a minor, so don't act
but you,
like...
He's 19.
Jerica, you constantly would tell me that age is not an issue. I would tell you age is kind of weird. Like, it's kind of weird. And you
I know,
would say,
but the problem is, Kiwi, is like one person's an adult and they have to know better, and it doesn't matter what the kid says. That's
I know. I understand that. But
me
like,
if I was being an issue.
I've seen so many people on Twitter get exposed like for making the same mistake. Like, I've seen girls, I've seen guys, and it's so stupid. So if you guys are thinking about doing that, just don't do it.
So after all of that, you would think that Kiwiz would get hated off of social media, and that's if he didn't get terminated for confessing to his crimes. That is very, very illegal, and he could have gone to prison for it. Well, for some reason, somehow everyone was on his side, and he ended up making a response video just a day after the Drama Alert one.
I just want to say thank you to all the people that support me. I've recently talked to a ton of Call of Duty YouTubers that are in my community. They're really high up and they respect me. They understand my side and they truly believe I didn't do anything wrong. And I'm so thankful that people are actually understanding this and they're not being so close-minded into automatically thinking that I'm some kind of because this girl lied about her age and convinced me to send her pictures of myself. Like, she sent pictures to me too, but it was a group effort, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just like, there was no harassment. It was all consent, and I know that she's younger and but you're a teenager, dude. Like, so many people in high school make this mistake, and she said there's nothing to worry about. Like, you don't have to worry about anything. That I can trust her, that nothing like this would ever happen, and here we are. It's insane to me. And I honestly don't know what to think. Now remind yourself, I sent this when I was 17. I stopped talking to her after that. I felt bad. Like, I didn't want this. Like, I didn't want that. Like, I didn't feel comfortable doing it. We did it once. It
was a month ago.
Yeah, and a month ago on Snapchat.
I didn't feel comfortable doing it. We did it once and that was that. I was a teenager. I made a mistake. I'm sure there's tons of you out there that have done this before. And I know, like, it looks bad.
You can even see from this like versus dislike ratio that Keemstar's video having 36,000 likes and 10,000 dislikes, and then Kiwi's response having 22k likes and only 2k dislikes. And through everything, it seems like Kiwi's only response is she lied about her age, but let's do some math real quick. So if she claimed she was 14 and he was 17 then, and then 2 years later he was still sending pics, that would make her 16 when he was 19. So I still for the life of me can't figure out why people kept defending him back then. And a little while after, things seemed to die down and everybody just stopped talking about the situation until somebody ended up going to his house. So at the time when he was in Red, him and a bunch of other creators lived in the Red house together. And some guy just ended up walking into their home, went up to Kiwiz, and asked him something that I am not allowed to repeat on YouTube, but you could probably guess what it is. And then he was kicked out of the house, and the video is posted on social media. So a little while later, even after all this victim blaming, using depression as an excuse, and still not taking any responsibility at all, you would think, one, his YouTube career is over. And certainly no team would want him, right? Well, wrong. He didn't end up leaving Red Reserve until 2 years later, and it was on his own terms. Then he ended up signing to Obey, and then again in 2019 he would join Luminosity Gaming, and then finally in 2020 he would create his own org called 1%. Okay, we skipped a little far on the timeline, so let's go back real quick to 2017. So this entire time, Kiwiz was making content surrounding Call of Duty, and this year would be where he would transition to Fortnite, which would skyrocket his career even further. And this is very important to mention, because of these new viewers and subs he was getting, they were all on the younger side since he was now making Fortnite content, which then meant that they probably weren't even on YouTube back when he got exposed. So the millions of new subs he's gained had no idea about his past. And even those who did find out about it, they were children, so they can't really understand the severity of what he actually did. And this was actually the same with me. I found out about Kiwiz a few years ago and I had no idea the horrible things he had done until after around a year later or so. So that does play a big role in why he only went up in viewership instead of going down. Alright, let's get back to his team he made, 1%. So after creating the team and being one of the main faces of it, his past was brought up again, and in hopes of saving the team, he stepped down as one of the faces of it. He didn't leave it though, he was definitely still an owner making money from behind the scenes. And over time, 1%'s YouTube channel views declined drastically, and they were eventually bought out by Ghost Gaming, where their channel barely gets any views now. But a huge reason for this was mainly from Kiwiz stepping down, since at the time he had millions of subs. so those who watched and came for Kiwiz were no longer doing so. From there though, Kiwiz would continue to post videos, gaining hundreds of thousands of views. And if you look at the comment section, even nowadays, there's nobody talking about his past. And most likely if they do, he just ends up deleting them all, but it's still crazy that even on like Twitter, nobody barely talks about it. But nowadays, his channel doesn't get as many views as before, only getting around 90k views per video. But that is still way more than most Fortnite content creators today, especially ones who only upload videos surrounding tournaments. It's crazy how Kiwiz even nowadays still has a career in social media and has yet to take any responsibility for the things he's done. Even though it's all in his past, it brings up the question, did he actually change?